The graph, also known by the market ticker GRT, is an indexing protocol that helps blockchain networks locate the data they require. Unlike a project like Chainlink, which would source the information for you, the graph aims to take you to where the information already exists. For this reason, it is occasionally referred to as the Google of the blockchain because if you are looking up a query on the blockchain, the graph can likely help you with that. So in this video, I am going to explain what the graph is, how the graph works, and what the tokenomics of the GRT token are. As a reward, make sure to subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. The graph was founded by Yanis, Brandon and Yaniv back in 2017 after becoming frustrated with the lack of tools available to create easy-to-access APIs on Ethereum. An API is an application programming interface and is essentially a way for two or more computer programs to communicate with each other. Let's now see what an indexing protocol is. In short, an indexing protocol works like the indexing in a book. It helps you find a specific piece of information quickly and means you do not have to go through the entire book trying to find what you are looking for. The same thing happens in computing datasets. Instead of searching the entire dataset for one specific piece of information, an index can fast-track you to that location. However, the problem currently is the most popular APIs such as blockchain explorers like Etherscan store their data off-chain, place it into their own graphs and datasets, and then provide you with an interface to view this data. While this is mostly fine, it does require putting trust in these centralized companies, which isn't ideal for a fully decentralized and permissionless network. But how does the graph work exactly? The graph is an ERC20 token on the Ethereum network. An ERC20 token is a token creation blueprint that ensures compatibility with the Ethereum network. An ERC20 token is a fungible token, the opposite of the more famous non-fungible tokens. In short, this means each ERC20 token of its type is worth the same. A real-life example would be the way a $1 note is always worth $1. As ERC20 tokens run on the Ethereum network, the graph runs a variant of Ethereum's proof-of-stake consensus mechanism. The main difference between proof-of-stake and Bitcoin's more famous proof-of-work is instead of making the entire network compete to solve a puzzle and receive the reward, under proof-of-stake they choose who validates the transactions based on who has the most tokens staked, meaning deposited, to the network. The benefit here is it allows for quicker transaction finalization as it only uses one validator and a couple of authenticators to ensure legitimacy. As a result, Proof of Stake uses an unbelievably small amount of energy when compared to Proof of Work. However, as I have talked about Proof of Stake and ERC20 tokens a few times previously, I will leave a few links to some previous videos in the description for those looking for a bit more depth on them. Now that we know what the graph is and how it works, let's find out what makes the graph unique. Without the graph, each company must make their own API to interact with the blockchain, which creates a lot of redundant work and could be better used elsewhere. However, what really makes the graph unique is subgraphs. The graph can speak to multiple blockchains by using a queryable language known as GraphQL. Queryable information is organized into subgraphs. Multiple subgraphs can be used, and a single subgraph could contain many more subgraphs layers beneath it. In the same way, your file explorer on your computer can open a folder that only has a few documents, or it can open a folder that has a folder after folder after folder. These subgraphs can provide a consolidated form of data that can be used through the Graphs Explorer. Through the Graphs Explorer, you will find popular APIs such as Uniswap, Compound, Balancer, or ENS to name a few. But how about the GRT tokenomics? Initially, there were 10 billion GRT tokens, with a new token issuance rate of 3% annually minus the burn rate. Of the initial 10 billion, they were distributed as follows. 17% went to early backers and a further 17% to other backers. 23% was allocated to the early team and advisors, and 8% was allocated to Edge and Node, which includes the initial development team behind the graph. The last 35% was allocated to the community. Of that 35%, 58% went to the Graph Foundation, while 18% was sold during the GRT sale. Finally, the rest 24% was given to the Testnet Indexer Rewards, the Curator Program grants, and the Educational and Bug Bounties programs. The GRT token is a utility token that can be used in multiple ways to generate income. First, we have indexers. Indexers become indexers by staking to the network and starting a graph node. Their main function is to index relevant subgraphs. Indexers can earn rewards for serving queries from their subgraphs, and they can set their own prices for doing so, creating a fair and competitive marketplace. Then we have the curators. Curators use their GRT tokens to signal what potential subgraphs are worth indexing. Curators are rewarded proportionally to how much their subgraph is then used overall. Finally, we have the delegators. Delegators stake their GRT tokens on behalf of indexers to earn a portion of the indexers' rewards and fees. The benefit here is they don't have to run their own subgraph and can still earn rewards. In conclusion, the graph has a purpose, and that is when you ask it a question to provide you an answer. It encourages a clever ecosystem for users to select, host, and use the technology they have created, and offers multiple ways you can contribute to receive a reward yourself. Of course, I can't say the graph will be the indexing protocol of choice as a guarantee. However, what I do feel more comfortable saying is as blockchain technology grows, it will need an interoperable indexing system. At present, the graph has set itself up nicely for success, and if it can avoid any major misfalls in management, it will likely continue to thrive for as long as Ethereum does. Thanks for watching. If you like the video on the graph, click here to watch the video on Chainlink or here for the video on Band Protocol.